Claude Code just doubled its limits a few days ago. And if you saw that announcement and thought, so what? I'm going to show you what that unlocks if you're running a business and have a folder full of documents that nobody has had time to turn into something useful. Let's dive in. So this is the announcement that made this possible. You'll see Claude signed up for a compute deal with SpaceX, which is why it was able to raise its usage limits. So first they're saying we're doubling Claude Code's 5-hour rate limits for Pro, Max, Team, and Enterprise plans. I'm currently on the Pro plan. This is the plan where you spend about $20 a month to get more usage on Claude Code. Second, they're also removing the peak hours limit reduction on Claude Code for Pro and Max account. So there used to be peak hours where your usage was limited, which they've now eliminated. And thirdly, they're saying we're also raising our API rate limits. And this makes sense for us, especially when we're trying to use Claude Code's API in some of our automation workflows. And so for the API in particular, they have about 4 tiers. So for the first one, where you had a maximum input token limit of 30,000 tokens, has now been increased to 500,000. And your maximum output tokens go from 8,000 to 80,000. For tier 2, 450k maximum input tokens before this change, and now we have about 2 million. And the 90,000 output tokens go to about 200,000 tokens. This is exceptionally significant for us. Okay, so I tried to put this to the test, okay, by running an entire project. So I had a folder full of documents, and I'm going to show you what I did. So this is what we're going to start with. We're going to have client files, and they include 10 clients meeting notes, 10 email threads, 10 project statuses, and 10 contract scopes. So think of this as a business who's working with different clients, right? We're going to feed all of that information to Claude Code, which is going to read all those 40 files. It's going to assign a health score to each client and where our business stands with them. It's going to flag risks and wins, and it's going to generate 5 outputs. It's going to give us a client dashboard HTML, a client memo, an Excel sheet with where all of our clients stand, and also send an email to our partner. Here's what the dashboard looks like. It's got revenue at risk, outstanding invoices, and it's got information and status updates on each of those clients. This has also been put into a spreadsheet that is nicely organized, a health score, the client name, etc. And then it's also assigned or drafted an email to send to our partner with what are our firm's next steps. So now let's take a look at what made this possible in just one single session of Claude Code. I'm inside Visual Studio Code. You'll see I've invoked the Claude Code extension inside Visual Studio. If you don't know how to do that, check some of my previous videos. It's as simple as going to this extensions tab, searching for Claude Code, and installing it inside VS Code. Now that we're here, let's first look at my folder. And this is where I'm trying to put Claude Code to its limits. You'll see these are the number of text files that we have that we want Claude Code to analyze. So let's take a look at some of them. So it starts off with the client's name. So it says Apex Legal. And this first one is the contract scope document for this particular client. We also have an email thread document. We have some meeting notes with them, and also the project status. So you'll see we have 4 files for each client, and we have 10 clients in total, which makes it 40 files. The prompt that I've already pasted into the chat, it reads, I run a consulting firm. I have a folder called client files with 40 files, 10 active clients. Read everything and do the following. For each client, we're saying assign it a health score from 1 to 10 based on relationship health. Consider things like how recently we've been in contact, if there have been any missed deadlines or broken commitments, outstanding invoices, etc. We also wanted to build a client dashboard as a self-contained HTML. Each client should have a card showing the name, health score, last contact date, etc. Please color code it as well. And for each client with a health score of 5 or below, we want it to create a separate strategy memo as a plain text file. Each memo can be about 3 to 4 paragraphs, stating what the specific risk is and what we should do in the next 7 days. We also wanted to have a client CSV file with one row per client containing the name, health score, and other details. Now, before I shoot this off, since we're interested to see if it can finish all of this in one single session, we're going to take a look at the account usage that I currently have. So you'll see I'm currently at 4%. For this session, it's going to reset in 4 hours. So what I'm going to do is now kick this off with the baseline of 4% that we have. So I've shot this off. This is going to take quite a while, but I'm going to check back in with you every few minutes to see the progress it's made. As you can see right now on screen, it's starting to read through all of our text documents. It's going to go through all 40 of them before it creates a plan and starts executing. It's been a couple of minutes or so. I think it has read through all of the 40 different files at this point, and it's starting to work on our next set of to-dos for it. We'll just take a peek at what the account usage is looking like at this point. So it's moved from 4 to 8%, so a jump of 4%, which is not too bad at all. Let's see what happens next. Okay, the next update is it says I've now read 40 files. It's trying to synthesize the data and build all 4 outputs simultaneously. And this is probably going to take the bulk of its usage, and we'll run a little bit of the way through and see where its uses is at. So it's doing all 4 simultaneously now. It's writing the client dashboard, it's writing the client CSV, and it is also crafting the 3 strategy memos that it's identified for the clients that might have a low health score. Checking up on usage, it is currently sitting at 11%. It jumped from 8 to 11. Remember, we started at 4. We'll let this run through and see where we land at. It looks like it has finished processing. It says all files are written. Let me confirm everything is in place. It has confirmed. This is what our partner email looks like. We'll get into that in a second. It's given me the client, the score, the key signal, and if you see on the left, it's given me a dashboard, it's given me a client CSV, and also memos for the 3 clients that it has identified that might have a health score less than 5. Let's take a look now at the CSV first. So I've just opened this CSV up into my Google Sheets. You'll see it has the client name, the health score, the last contact date for each client, the current phase it is in, the contract's value, the amount collected, the amount outstanding, and a risk note. Let's read this first one. It says a 47-day silence with 2 unanswered follow-ups. Phase 2, 28K verbally agreed but unsigned and at high risk of lapsing. And if we look at the email that it created that we need to send to our partner, it says 3 clients need our direct attention. Northgate Law is the most urgent, 11 days late delivering phase 1 revisions. And for the final invoice, and it's picking up this information such as the person of or point of contact for that client from the meeting notes that we gave it. It says 14 days overview with no reply. And then it's talking about Apex Legal, which is the next client, and also Cortex Health. On a more positive note, these clients or this client's deal is moving to term sheet and our work is in the data room. Isn't this amazing? Now I'm going to go back to Claude Code and ask, hey Claude Code, open up the client dashboard for me in my browser. I'm going to hit it off and there you go. Isn't this wonderful? It's given me the active revenue, the revenue that is at risk, and the outstanding invoices. The ones in green that you see are the ones that have the higher health score, and the ones that we need to take care of are the ones down at the bottom, the ones that are in red, the one with the lowest scores. The 3 and 2 from Apex Legal and Northgate, you'll see it has the information that we also saw in that Excel sheet. Isn't this amazing? It just ran through 40 files and was able to do all of this for you in a single shot prompt from scratch in a single session. Talking about single session, let's take a look at our usage. Our usage seems to be at 15%. So it went from 14 to 15% and that was it. Trust me, if this was on the earlier, before the May 6th announcement, this would have taken up way more usage. One more thing to add. or point out is the model that we are using for this, or the one that I used for this demo, is actually Sonnet 4.6, which is not Claude's most powerful model. The most powerful one is Opus 4.7. And if you wanted to try this out on Opus, you go to switch model and then you'd switch over to Opus. You'll see the default recommended one for us for this task was Sonnet 4.6, which is the one I used. But of course, if we used Opus, this would be a lot higher. So it would have been somewhere, you know, in the 30s, 40s, or even 50s for this same task. So please keep that in mind. 1 prompt, 40 files, 5 outputs, and 0 interruptions. What's interesting isn't that Claude Code got bigger, is that some of these tasks which would need workarounds, or for which you'd need to wait until your next session started, can now fit cleanly into one single session. If you run a business and are sitting on a folder full of documents that you haven't had time to process, this is worth testing this week. Subscribe if you want to keep seeing what these tools look like in practice. And if you know a business owner who doesn't exactly know what Claude Code can do for them, send them this one. Thanks for hanging with me until the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.